to you all. This is a topic that I'm really excited to have a blether about. It's basically being able to navigate the ukulele up beyond your open chords or your kind of first learn of each chord that typically doesn't take you higher than fret 4. Whereas in the last year, I've really been exploring sitting around about this kind of fret 7 zone that I've grown to know and love. And I haven't looked up any chord windows. I kind of stubbornly decided I was going to figure it all out myself. So there might still be the odd chord that I'll notice I could have done a slightly different way looking back at the YouTube videos, and that's fine. But what I discovered, I'll kind of try and take you through the shapes that I discovered, and what I managed to tick off is, okay, I can create that and I can create that, and I found I can create everything now that I need to. There are 3 major chords, 2 minor chords, and then a couple of 7 chords as well. But again, you can get by in life without the 7 chords. It's really, as long as you know you've got plenty of options for major chords and minor chords, then the 7 chords and the diminished 7s, which we talk about, can kind of be stored as a separate activity in your head to navigate up the neck and things like that. But I'm just going to try my best just to talk about the majors and minors that I've found I can get by with. Now, the 3 major shapes that I tend to use, you'll know them. You'll know them already. So let's just go down to the bottom here. The 3 that I want you to take note of are the C shape. Okay, that's fine. That's, dead straightforward, a 1-finger chord. The F shape, very familiar, 2-finger chord. If I describe the strings from chin to floor, you've got fret 2, and then you've got an open string, and then you've got fret 1 covered, and then an open string, your F chord. And then the 3rd and final shape is the A chord. Again, described from chin to floor, I'll go fret 2 is covered, fret 1 is covered, and then open string and open string. Now, in every case, we can take that shape and slide up the neck with our index finger, creating a bar up the neck. So the C chord that we normally do with ring finger, I'd suggest you bring in pinky, and we can get a C sharp or D flat. Let's call it a D flat major, if you ever end up playing in the key of D flat. Then we've got a higher voicing of a D chord. We have a D chord that's 2-2-2 open, but you can just bar that 2 and do your C chord shape if you want that slightly higher voicing. Up we go, E flat major, E major, F major, F sharp major if you ever need it, G major, I use it all the time in the channel, G sharp or A flat major if you end up playing in the key of A flat. We do have some really popular songs that are in, say, E flat, you'll need an A flat chord, and then A. Woo! And that's about as high as I would go with that one. Okay, so A is your bar 9 and the C shape. Okay, let's whiz back to the F shape. If you're going to bring in a bar, you then have to use your ring finger and your middle finger, and you create that F shape, but now it's an F sharp chord here. Now it's a G chord if we bar fret 2, and just think back to what that F shape is. You're now using ring finger and middle finger. Now we've got our A flat shape here and our A shape here. Our B flat, I use it a lot if I ever I'm playing B flat in the channel. And B is fret 6, C is fret 7, I use that constantly. D flat and D all the way up there, I've used that a couple of times in the channel actually. F shape on bar 9 is a D chord. And the 3rd major chord is the A shape. And you just do the same thing. You need to use ring finger and middle finger again. So it's very similar feeling to the F chord, but just make sure you're aware that middle finger is on the C string and not the E string. So similar to the F shape, I should say. We'll call this the A shape. And of course you'll recognize it. It's our B flat chord, except I'm telling you to put your whole finger across. If you get into the habit of being up the neck and fluctuating between, let's call it the C shape and the F shape, and it's actually just easier to bar and do what we'll call the A shape. Okay, so you might, if there's time, it totally depends what the chord before and the chord after are. You might be comfortable doing this anywhere up the neck. So that you could say that's our very familiar B flat shape. But remember, that is the A shape I'm talking about. Okay, there's an A shape with a bar on fret 1. And there's me just barring the bottom 2 instead of the whole 4. And that's our B flat shape that you'll probably be familiar with. I'm trying to get me in focus here. Okay, so I still think of that as a movable A shape. Okay, so there's a lot of times on the channel that I've fully barred that and done an A shape over the top. Say E flat on bar 6 with an A shape over the top. However, it's totally fine, instead of barring all 4, just to bar the 2 that are needed. And you might see me doing that as well. It just depends where we've been beforehand. But more often than not, I bar the whole lot just out of habit, and because I'm working so often just barring everything. Some chords I just bar everything, so it's just easier to bar that one as well, and I think of it as my movable A shape. So that's the 3 major shapes, and I can get by with those 3, because if you sit, it's slightly hard work. I would like drink a glass of water and eat some fruit and then be ready to concentrate and just kind of look at your ukulele, get into position, and don't intend to play, just think. Well, if I'm looking for, plucked out of thin air, a B major chord, and I want to be kind of halfway up the neck, what do? You just have to sort of trial and error. The C shape isn't very helpful because that takes us through a range of C, open C, all the way up to A. So that definitely doesn't give us a B chord. The A shape gives us a B chord at bar fret 2. And you'll know that as a B chord anyway if you just bar the 2 instead of the 4. But what about barring fret 6 and doing the F shape? So there's a B chord. So you just kind of have to process, and I mean, in all honesty, the way that I got good at it is I had to spend so many occasions looking for a C chord. I just know now that I knew very quickly that was bar 7 F shape. So I could count down 1 or 2 to find a B chord or a B flat chord from there, or up 2 to find a D chord from there. So it's the way that you get fast at it. You learn a couple of, I call them pillars, a couple of pillar chords. So like F is bar 5 C shape, and G is bar 7 C shape. So from there, you can count up or down to get a couple others as well. And the A shape, there's bar 5 A shape, which you can also think of as like your kind of learned B flat shape. They're one and the same. Bar 5 gives you a D chord, so that's quite handy. And bar 7 A shape gives you an E chord. So really, you just need 3 major chords that are movable, and okay, it's tiring on this bit of your finger, but once you get used to that, they're very, very usable, and you only need 3 major chords to find your way across the whole neck with quite a lot of variety of sound. The 2 minors I want to mention are a lovely minor 7 chord. I'll give you A minor 7 as the example, which is from chin to floor, 5-7, 5-7. So it's all fingertips. I'll give you a good close-up on this. I use it an awful lot. Okay, so 5-7, 5-7. So just take your time to map that out. So it's index finger on the G string, ring finger on the C string, middle finger on the E string, and pinky on the A string. So however you can kind of get that processed to lay that out as kind of like a slanty rectangle. That's your minor 7 shape. So on 5-7, 5-7, it's A minor. So of course, if you go 2 higher, that's B minor, 7-9, 7-9. Really handy one to know, B minor up there. And I find it very comfy. Once the muscle memory has kicked in to plant your fingertips there in that order, with just a little bit of visual help, I find it, once you've practiced it a little bit, it's really, really nice. And then the other minor shape, I guess, that fills in some gaps is take your F shape that you've learned to bar around about the uke anyway, and make it a D minor shape instead. So think back to what D minor is. Take your F chord and sneak a finger in on the C string on the same fret as what you have covered on the G string. So we just create that anywhere up the neck. So if I do that on fret 7, we're going to get an A minor as well. So here's my fret 7. Here's my C chord on fret 7 because it's an F shape on fret 7. And if you tuck your pinky into the same fret as your ring finger but on the C string, then I would class that as my D minor shape. And again, you don't have to bar anymore because the only string that's actually covered by that index finger is the A string, so you could go like that. However, more often than not, because I'm on bars before and after, I find it as comfortable just to stay on the bar, just purely for that reason, for swift changing. I'm on bars anyway, most of the time before and after, so I just leave it like that, but you can just fingertip that one as well, and that's another minor shape. And that's, I'm going to leave it at that just now. We can talk about sevens in the exact same ilk another time, but that's your kind of movable majors and minors. 3 major shapes and 2 minor shapes can solve you an awful lot. Oh, I almost forgot the most important one. There are 3 minor shapes I wanted to talk about today, which is just the straight up bar. So all your strings open is A minor 7. So bar 5, that's D minor 7. And bar 7, that's E minor 7. So you just count up from A, B flat, minor 7, B minor 7, bar 2, C minor 7, C sharp minor 7, beautiful, D minor 7 I mentioned, and so on and so forth. So of course there's 3 majors and 3 minors, I think. You should make your absolute baseline for not getting overwhelmed by what it is to play up the neck. Just think, I've got my 3 majors and my 3 minors, and then it's just all about having the pillars that you have memorized, like, D minor 7, bar 5. That's a really nice one to memorize because you can slip up or down a couple and count fairly quickly to any other required one that you're looking for. So like I said, I purely just stubbornly did it by sussing all that out and not looking up shapes. And it's a nice way to work then because you're not relying on any external information or resource to keep you right. You know, you feel like you really understand it then. But just limit your shapes. Don't feel like you need, there's plenty other movable shapes out there. But I think just keep it to just a couple of majors, couple of minors. Even choose 2 of the 3 of each. And you will find an awful lot of choice up the neck. With just a couple of majors, couple of minors. So yeah, let us know how you get on with that, and we'll do the same kind of thing with 7 chords and a few other chords in due course. Okay, cheers.